In the shadow of the mountains where the desert kissed the horizon, a young woman named Isabella stood with trembling hands and a heart burdened by sacrifice. She was the daughter of a small Spanish settled village, a place that had always lived in fear of raids from the Apache tribes. For years, the people whispered the same name with dread: Nahuel, the feared Apache leader, a man so fierce in battle that they called him the monster. His face was said to be marked by scars, his gaze cold as iron, his mercy absent like rain in drought. Children hid when his name was spoken, and mothers prayed that his path would never cross their own. But fate had other plans. One evening, after a season of scarcity when food and water were as precious as gold, Nahuel's warriors surrounded Isabella's village. They did not burn or slaughter. Instead, Nahuel demanded a single price: marriage. He asked for Isabella, the daughter of the village's alcalde, as his bride. If she agreed, the village would be spared. If she refused, her people would be crushed, their lands claimed, their future erased. It was an impossible choice for a girl whose dreams were still woven with childhood laughter, but Isabella looked into the eyes of her father and the terrified faces of her people, and she knew her path. With a trembling voice, she whispered the words that would seal her fate: "I will marry him." The wedding was not one of joy but of solemn vows and heavy silence. The people wept as Isabella was taken away, her veil trembling over her face, her heart pounding like a bird trapped in a cage. Nahuel stood tall, his broad shoulders draped in beads and feathers, his expression unreadable, his scarred cheek glinting in the firelight. He did not smile, nor did he offer comfort, and Isabella's fear deepened. She thought herself condemned, a lamb to the slaughter, a pawn in a cruel game. Yet as the days turned into weeks, something unexpected began to unfold. In the Apache camp, Isabella was not treated as a prisoner. She was given her own tent, food, water, and even gifts of woven blankets and pottery. Nahuel never raised his voice, never struck her, and though his silence was heavy, there was a strange respect in the way he kept his distance. Isabella's fear slowly gave way to curiosity. Who was this man beneath the terrifying stories? Why had he spared her people when he had the power to destroy them? One night, while the fire crackled under a sky filled with stars, Isabella found herself watching Nahuel as he sat alone. He held in his hands a carved piece of wood, smoothing it with gentle strokes, as though the act calmed something deep within him. Summoning her courage, she approached. "Why did you choose me?" she asked softly. Nahuel looked up, his dark eyes reflecting the fire. For a moment, he did not answer. Then, with a voice deep but unexpectedly tender, he replied, "Because your people see me as a monster. I wanted them to know I could protect, not just destroy. And you are brave. You chose them over yourself." His words pierced through Isabella's fear, leaving her stunned. She realized then that perhaps the monster was not a beast at all, but a man shaped by battles and misunderstandings. As days passed, Isabella began to notice the cracks in the stories told about Nahuel. She saw how he played with children, lifting them onto his shoulders until they squealed with joy. She saw him sit with elders, listening with patience, honoring their wisdom. She even saw him tend to the sick, grinding herbs with his own hands and placing them gently on wounds. Slowly, the image of the ruthless warrior blurred, replaced by that of a leader carrying the weight of his people's survival. Yet his scar, a jagged line across his cheek, remained a reminder of the battles he had endured. One evening, Isabella asked about it. Nahuel did not flinch. He told her of the time he had defended his people against soldiers who tried to seize their lands, of how the blade that cut his face had also taken the lives of his brothers. "To them, I am a monster because I fought back," he said quietly. "But to my people, I am the one who must protect them, no matter the cost." His voice cracked, and Isabella felt the first spark of empathy ignite in her heart. Their bond grew slowly, like a fragile plant finding root in rocky soil. Isabella taught Nahuel Spanish songs from her childhood, her voice carrying through the camp like a gentle wind. In return, Nahuel showed her the sacred rituals of his people, the dances that honored the earth, the prayers whispered to the spirits of ancestors. For the first time, Isabella felt not like a captive but like a bridge between two worlds. Her heart, once heavy with fear, began to soften. She realized that love, in its truest form, was not born of desire alone but of understanding and sacrifice. Yet she also knew her village still feared him, and she wondered if they would ever see what she had begun to see. The turning point came during a great drought. The river near Isabella's old village dried to a trickle, and famine loomed. Her people grew desperate, blaming Noel once more, accusing him of curses. When Isabella heard their cries, her heart ached. She pleaded with Noel to help them. At first, he resisted. "They will never accept my hand," he said bitterly. But Isabella placed her hand over his scarred cheek and whispered, "Then let them accept your heart." Something in her words broke through his pride. The next morning, Noel gathered his warriors and ordered them to carry food and water to the starving villagers. When they arrived, the people recoiled, certain it was a trick. But then they saw Isabella, walking at Noel's side, her eyes filled with a quiet strength. "He is not here to take," she told them. "He is here to give." Slowly, disbelief turned into awe as Noel and his men laid down baskets of corn, jars of water, and blankets for the children. The silence of the village broke with sobs of relief. For the first time, the feared Apache was seen not as a monster but as a savior. That night, as Isabella stood beneath the stars, she realized her choice had not only saved her people from destruction but had given them something greater, the chance to see the humanity in those they once called enemies. Noel, too, had been transformed not by conquest, but by compassion. Their marriage, once a symbol of fear, had become a bridge of hope. Isabella looked at the man beside her, scarred but strong, feared but now admired, and she felt her heart swell with a love she had never expected. He had given her people life, and in return, she had given him the chance to be seen for who he truly was. In that moment, she understood that true courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to love beyond it. And so, the story of Isabella and Noel spread across the valleys and deserts, not as a tale of monsters or captives, but as a testament to the power of sacrifice, empathy, and unity. Where once there was division, there grew respect. Where once there was hatred, there blossomed peace. And in the quiet of their hearts, both Isabella and Noel knew they had written a new destiny not only for themselves, but for all who came after. The girl who had married a feared Apache to save her people discovered that sometimes the greatest salvation comes not from war or surrender, but from the courage to see the human soul behind the mask of fear. And so their love, born of sacrifice, became the light that outshone even the darkest of scars.